They call it the 1 minute trick to discover your true purpose in life. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Just 1 minute and you'll finally know why you were born. But here's the uncomfortable truth: that 1 minute is not a shortcut. It is the moment you finally stop lying to yourself. And that moment could take years, decades, or never arrive at all. I remember back in 1935, a man named Thomas Blackwell, a banker in London, respected, admired, untouchable, or so it seemed. Every morning, he wore the same crisp suit, the same polished shoes, the same carefully constructed smile. People thought he was living the dream. But late at night, alone in his study, he would sit and stare at his reflection, as if searching for the man behind the mask. Carl Jung called that mask the persona. It is the face you show to the world, the agreeable one, the strong one, the one who never ever lets them see the cracks. But here's the danger: live behind that mask long enough and you forget who's underneath. That's when the emptiness creeps in, that quiet ache you can't explain. Not depression, not failure, but a soft, persistent whisper saying, "This is not your life." Thomas ignored it for years, until one evening at a dinner party, he raised his glass to toast another successful deal, and his hand began to shake. Not from nerves, but from the weight of all the years lived for everyone else. The room laughed, he smiled, but inside something snapped. That was his 1 minute, the moment the mask cracked. If you've ever felt that strange hollow space inside, don't run from it. It is not your enemy. It is the signal, the first quiet call to discover who you really are. And if you want to keep exploring these hidden truths, these rare, uncomfortable revelations, make sure you're subscribed. Stay with me, because we're only just getting started. You see, Thomas wasn't alone. Throughout history, every culture, every faith has wrestled with this same truth, that the life we present is rarely the life we were meant to live. The Buddhists call it Maya, the illusion. The Christians call it the world. Jung called it the persona. Different names, same prison. And those who escape often pay a price. In the deserts of Judea, there's a story. A wealthy young man asked Jesus, "What must I do to have life?" And the answer was terrifyingly simple: sell all you have, give to the poor, and follow me. It wasn't about the money, it was about the mask, because his identity, his worth, his purpose was chained to his wealth. And to follow the truth, he had to walk away from everything that wasn't truly his. That is the cost of authenticity. In the East, there is another tale. A prince named Siddhartha lived surrounded by luxury, beauty, comfort. But when he stepped outside the palace walls, he saw sickness, old age, death. The mask of his perfect life shattered, and he left it all in search of the truth. Do you see the pattern? Whether in Jerusalem or India or London, the moment you see the mask, you cannot unsee it. Thomas, after that dinner party, began to change. Small steps. He stopped attending the endless networking events he secretly hated. He began painting, a passion he had abandoned at 20. At first, people whispered. Some laughed. Some were angry. They didn't understand, because when you take off your mask, it often threatens the ones still wearing theirs. And here's the thing: that resistance, that criticism, it is the test. Because purpose isn't about applause. It isn't about safety. It is about living from the inside out. And I'll tell you something else. The journey is rarely dramatic. Sometimes it's just small, quiet acts of honesty, saying no, when every fiber of your old self wants to say yes. Admitting "I'm not fine" when the world expects your smile. Writing down 5 things you do only to please others, and then daring to stop doing just one. That's how the cracks widen. That's how the self begins to breathe again. And if this resonates with you, if you've felt that whisper, if you've seen the cracks, tell me in the comments. I choose to be real, because every time someone says it, someone else feels less alone. And don't forget to subscribe. We're building something here, a quiet movement toward the truth. Thomas lived many more years, but not as the man in the suit, not as the banker, not as the persona. He lived as himself. The cost? He lost friends. He lost the image. He even lost the security that once felt unshakable. But what he gained was beyond price, because every morning he woke up and there was no gap between the man in the mirror and the man inside. He didn't live forever. No one does, but he lived fully, and that is rarer than immortality. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Most people never claim that privilege. They stay in the mask. They wait for permission that never comes. But you don't have to. You can step out at any moment, and maybe that moment is now. So, what about you? Will you keep playing the role that was written for you, or will you dare to write your own? The 1 minute trick was never magic. It was a mirror, a single sharp moment when the reflection doesn't lie. And if you're willing to see it, you may finally hear the whisper that's been there all along. If this spoke to you, don't just click away. Subscribe, share this with someone who feels the same quiet ache, and come back because together we will keep breaking the masks until what's left is the life that was always yours.